art can mean different things to different people. For me, it's all about the joy of creating. So if you draw, paint, write, dance, sing, craft, play air guitar, or even sculpt using nothing but mashed potatoes, consider yourself an artist and join the conversation. For the next half hour, meet the artist, learn about their inspiration, and enjoy the beauty of creativity. Welcome to Art Talk with John Cole Artist. Well, all right, everyone. Good evening. It's John Cole Artist, and I'm live. Today is, let me check the calendar because I never know what date it is. It's Tuesday, July 25th. Can you believe we're already at the 25th of July? Oh my gosh, time's flying. 2023. And I get the special privilege of having one of my dear friends on for the second time, Lucinda Bentley. How are you tonight, Lucinda?
I am wonderful. How are you, John?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I've been dealing with unexpected rain showers up here in Massachusetts. You know, right before we went on, I was saying that I camped outside because I like to do that from time to time, and looking at the weather forecast, thinking maybe I could do it 2 nights in a row. I'm glad I took that tent down this morning because it's been raining like nobody's business, thunderstorms, everything else. So it's just a very, very strange weather pattern. And hello, Christine. Well, all right. So I wanted to have you on tonight because I know it's been about 3 months since we last spoke. Mm-hmm. And I know you've been moving forward in your life, doing all kinds of interesting things. One of the things that I saw that one path that you're going down is as a consultant for Rodan and Fields.
Yes, that's brand new, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, because I know we had Audra Zimpel on a couple weeks ago, and we spent a good half hour talking about, the importance of skincare and just beauty in general as it applies to art, because, things like that are a form of art.
Absolutely.
So I was excited to see you pick that up as another business line.
Yes, and there's the beauty care and the self-care aspect of it is one aspect, but it's also a legacy company, meaning that I can leave it to my granddaughter.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And she will maintain the same benefits that I had. So creating a legacy is I mean, how can you say no to something like that?
You really can't. I mean, that sounds wonderful. And then, of course, last time when you were on, we talked about your henna tattoo work for a little bit, right? We saw some pictures of the beautiful work that you do with that. We, of course, talked a little bit about your acrylic paintings and your blessing orbs.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, what between then and now, what other things besides Rodan and Fields have you been up to?
Well, I will be reading tarot online for a new company that just kicked off in June. It's called My Guru, and it is based out of the UK. Wow. But they have vetted me as a reader for tarot and oracle cards, as well as runes, to be a reader for their guests that are going to come on. So it's very similar to a lot of the other platforms. Mm-hmm. Where you could go and get an online reading. However, these practitioners have multiple talents. You can get an Reiki healing through this. It doesn't have to be a reading. You can get healings and things like that through this site. So I'm excited about that.
I think that's your bird. It sounds like your bird's excited too. That's amazing.
Sinbad likes to talk when she hears me talk. She's not hearing a response, and so she's going to respond for me.
Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad Sinbad's involved in the discussion. That's awesome. Almost like having 3 people on the screen. That's cool. So, what about other art stuff? Like, so you're going to be doing the tarot readings, which is amazing because that's an international thing. If it's a company out of the UK, right? So with that though, anybody that is it like the I'm sorry, I'm getting confused because I don't know how to phrase this question.
No, don't worry.
Is it like the old days where you would dial like a 1-900 number to talk to a psychic or something? Is it similar to that? Or, that's what I wanted to know. Yeah.
Well, not. I mean, the concept is similar. You're going to make contact with someone who's going to give you information that they are getting from not your normal routes of information,
Right.
whether it is intuitiveness, whether it is just a knowledge, of they've studied Tarot for years, and it's a big task to really understand Tarot at the fullest without having any references that you rely on. I'm not there, certainly, but so it's a lot of work as well. It is not it's $1 a minute, and then I'm going to charge you $2 when I get to the point where you're going to know what the answer is.
Right.
And it's not like that. It's to develop really a relationship with the client,
Right.
and they offer either just voice, you can do video, or you can do chat, or they even have email. So you don't have to be in a vulnerable position if you're not comfortable with having your face or your voice on something. You can do an email reading with someone. So
Yeah,
they're
and I would.
opening it to a lot of other people and a lot of ways for people to access it without having a stigma attached to it.
Yeah, because I think it does, and why don't we talk about that for a few minutes? Because I think, when we bring up Tarot and we bring up this whole idea, and I'm going to put this in air quotes because I don't think it's true, but they call it fortune telling, right? Um, I think there's an art behind that, because correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're reading cards, and it doesn't have to be Tarot specifically, it could be,
Mhm.
one of the many different varieties of card sets that they have, right? Some are to
Even
talk
just
about.
regular playing cards.
Exactly, right. I think where we need to pivot a little bit on that is, my understanding is a lot of times, probably most of the time, that's basically used as an intuitive method of providing guidance, right?
Mhm.
As opposed to, I'm going to read the cards and I'm going to tell you, that you're going to meet the love of your life in 5 days or something, right? It's not really that, is it?
No, it's I have not experienced spirit telling me that in 5 days something is going to happen to someone,
Hmm.
nor have I experienced that with the cards. But what I have experienced is a sense of urgency
Okay.
that may be intuited by the cards or the intuition. However, I always tell people this is a snapshot of what's happening at the moment. And just like if we do one thing differently, the rest of our day will travel down a slightly different path than if we did this differently.
Right.
And so it's all an option. It's all a choice. We have a choice every single day. And that is the beauty of being human, is that we get to make a choice every day. And those choices, of course, have a ripple effect and affect everything that goes on. So those are tarot readings, or more snapshots of what could be possible.
Right.
And if you get a reading from me, you're not going to ever hear anything that says, "Oh, you're pregnant," or "Oh,
All
he's
right. Right.
cheating
Right.
on you," or
Yeah.
"Oh, you're going to get $1 million when you play the lottery," because it's just not. I'm not spirit, and I don't think spirit tells us those kind of things anyway. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I like
so
that.
it just comes through, and the client
Yeah.
makes what they want to of it.
Right, and that's interesting because, first of all, Beth says hello. So happy to hear and see this
Hi,
interview. So hi,
Beth,
Beth.
and hi,
And
Christine. Earlier.
yeah, and Christine did say that her grandmother used to use playing cards.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
which would be difficult because you're right. You really have to understand the intricacies and the whole way that's laid out. Because I know it can be very complicated.
Symbology is the main thing. There's a lot of symbology involved in any of the methods of divination that you use.
Right.
And so having a good understanding of symbology can help you shape what you are hearing, or what I am hearing, into something that is tangible for the client.
Right. Yeah, and going back to what you said earlier about, I don't know if you used the word option, or I'm not exactly sure what word you use, but it really is suggestive that, possible outcome, right?
Mhm.
Or a possible path forward. And then, of course, you make decisions all the time that can alter that anyway, because we have free will. So that in and of itself is really interesting if you really think about that. You've got somebody like Lucinda, that, or Christine. Christine's like this as well. She's got a very strong intuitive nature about her, And Christine's my wife, by the way, for anybody that's watching that doesn't know who I'm referring to, who's going to be on in about a month, by the way. Um, but that whole idea is interesting because from a science perspective, there's these theories about parallel universes and string theory that ties all this stuff together. So, although I think Tarot and some of this other stuff might be considered new age, I think the more we become enlightened about how the universe operates, I mean, really operates, right? I think you're going to see a lot of this stuff kind of come together. And I think we're going to realize that intuitive nature that we all innately have anyway
Mm-hmm.
is really more real than what we think it is.
Absolutely. I
You
mean,
know,
if you see the same numbers on the road, the same signs every
Right.
day, and right now it seems to be dragonflies that everyone is. I've had two different people mention that dragonflies are coming to them, and so it's not just that it's the season for dragonflies, but it's something for them, and they'll
Right.
figure it out eventually. They'll have a thought at the same time that they see the dragonfly, and they'll go, "Oh, that was." Okay. And that memory is then attached to that dragonfly. So that symbolism will carry forward in their life
Right.
of that dragonfly. So
Right.
we're
So,
all intertwined somehow.
oh, we are absolutely, Lucinda. I don't doubt that one bit. It really is. I mean, the older I get, the more I see connections. Now, I'm not gonna, tell my audience that I believe in all this stuff 100%. It's what I
Right.
tell people about Bigfoot and UFOs and all this other stuff. I want to believe,
Right.
but some of us tend to be a little more skeptical and empirical. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we need that balance. But on the same token, I don't think it's right to be too far to one side either, because I think we've heard, you and I have heard this word spiritually bypassing things, right? We have a
Mm-hmm.
traumatic event, and then we rely too much on the spirit world to get us through it when we're not dealing with the trauma. On the other hand, I think if you spend too much time in the scientific world, you're missing out on this opportunity to really connect with ourselves, other people, and then of course nature. So, um, but I think we're moving in the right direction in some areas.
I think so. Science
Yeah.
is beginning to validate what intuitives have known for a long time. And intuitives are being validated by the science. It sounds like two very similar things, but I think there's a huge difference on either end and how
Right,
that's being said. So,
right. Let's see. Beth commented. She said, playing cards represent the suits of the tarot. People started using playing cards because divination tarot was ostracized. So glad that perspective is mostly in the past. Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree with that. And again, it doesn't, and that's the thing for those that are hardcore, it doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't hurt anything. You know what I mean? And again, the approach that you're talking about, Lucinda, where you're basically saying, well, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking and seeing based on the reading. You do what you want because you have that
mm-hmm.
free will to either walk away right now and say that was the dumbest thing I ever heard, or you can consider it and then maybe make some life changes. And I think that's where that value comes in.
Mm-hmm.
But good for you.
And
Good
it
for you to be.
validates.
Yeah, you're ahead of the curve then, man. You're way up here. I love that.
I
Now,
got some people I hang out with.
yeah, of course. Yeah, it's always your tribe and the group that you hang out with. Yeah,
That's
influence.
right.
So in addition to that, is there any other pieces of that you see yourself like kind of integrating in with your business line?
Well, I mean, animals are my first and foremost, and I want to be able to use those intuitive feelings and intuitive abilities to. That's my husband. He sneezed.
Tell him God bless you, Gesundheit.
God bless you.
I'm glad we got a listener right there with you. That's amazing. I love that.
Number one fan he is.
Number one fan. Perfect.
But I always want to be with animals. I love being with animals. That's my joy. That's what would get me out of bed at 3:00 in the morning if I needed to, was animals. I'm not so sure I'd get up for a tarot reading at 3:00 in the morning, but animals, yes. But I do enjoy being able to help owners connect with their animals a little
Right.
better. And I'm hoping that I can build a business where I am able to do that. as well as pet sitting, because that's something that I do on the regular. House sitting for you, or going and letting a dog out, or
Right.
feeding the cat, things like that. Um,
What about the idea of taking that tarot idea and then combining that with your artistic skills to design your own sets? I mean, do you think that's something that you would do sometime?
I would probably do it, but it would have to have dog breeds in it. It would be a dog breed tarot,
Yeah. I think
which
that would
which
be,
would pretty be fun, pretty fun.
yeah, I think it would too. I mean, it seems to me you have the talent on the artistic side to do that,
That would be fun. Thank
you
you,
know?
John. I'll
Yeah.
have to get you to be the co-author of it. You just came up with the idea. But
All I need is
it's
just a little byline that says
yeah.
inspired by and then my
Maybe you
name.
could do the artwork.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um, I've been trying some little weird artwork things that are going on. Little pieces. I think I sent you a picture of a couple of those.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring these up. Yeah, okay. So folks, Lucinda, when I reached out to her to set this up, she IM'd me some of these pictures, and I'm looking at them going, what in the heck is she doing now? This has got to be one of the weirdest pictures I've ever seen. And I didn't ask you about it because I really wanted to ask you about it during the show tonight. But what am I looking at? What are we looking at here?
Well, I love Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. I would do Halloween all year long if I could.
Hmm.
And my granddaughter had given me some of her old Barbies, and she said that I could use them in some of my things that I make, is what she says. So I had the Barbie dolls, and a lot of them she had already tried to cut their hair, so it was, kind of messed up. And I thought, well, what if this was Halloween time? What could be done with those? Well, they're going to be specimens. They're going to have like
Ah,
blood and stuff like that. They're going to be like specimens in a museum type place, or this will be like a life size voodoo doll or something like that. And I keep seeing these plastic doll houses that are like 3 feet high, and they kind of have hinges, and you open them up and the kids can play on the backside. And I've seen some Pinterest ideas for painting those black or dungeony colors, and then I could use these kinds of things as specimens within it, and kind of
right.
like a haunted house.
That is like the coolest idea. I mean, just look at this, folks. I mean, just looking at you're not even obviously done, right? Because you've basically just
No.
had arms and
Mm-mm.
legs and jars, but for Halloween, this is like creepy already. I
Yeah.
love this. And I think it serves as a really great reminder about and you're basically known for this as far as I'm concerned, because I know that you do use found objects a lot
Mhm.
within some of the pieces that you create. But folks, this is a really great way to reuse things basically in a creative way. I never would have thought of doing this.
And you could use them in other ways too. People could use them in a way that was not as creepy as that. They could turn them into fairies
Hmm.
for the yard, and then you buy a Dollar Tree stake light that's going to come on at night, and you've got a light up fairy, and you just put it in the top of it. So, I mean, you can reuse Barbie dolls for just about anything. Um, and those are old tubes for either bath salts, or they are the tubes that come on cigars.
Okay.
So everything pretty much is reused. Reduce, reuse, recycle as much as possible. We only have one planet, and we're killing her at a really fast pace.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, just look at the weather. Christine writes, and of course she's a New Englander. That is a wicked, wicked awesome idea. Did I say it? Did I say it right, Christine? Wicked awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see. I got one more picture here. Let's see what this one was. Oh yeah, this is what appears to be something.
It's a pencil topper that comes out of the bubblegum machine.
Hmm.
So you would stick it on your pencil, and the little arms would wave around like this on the end of your pencil. Well, I stuck it. This is one of those bubblegum machine holders, the prize holders,
Hmm.
and it's glued on top of a piece of cork from a liquor bottle. So, and then it has a pin stuck through it. So it's like the guy's head is
Oh, I see it now. I can see his eyes.
under
And
a dome and on display. And some
that
of
is
these are like
cool.
first runs, so I've got to kind
Yeah.
of work on a little bit of it, but they're the prototypes.
I think those are really cool. I cannot wait to see. You're gonna send me some pictures when you get them done, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah, I want to check
absolutely.
those out. Yeah, because I mean, because you mentioned like fairy gardens and stuff. And Anna Davis, I know, does fairy gardens, and I spoke to her
Beautiful.
way back at the beginning, right? Um, but I'm thinking this type of. I mean, could you imagine doing up like a Barbie hand and some goop or something, and then just kind of leaving it out in the woods
Hmm.
somewhere? Could you imagine? Can you imagine that? That
I'll
is
send you pictures because we're
yeah,
probably going to do similar things because we're going to have a haunted trail here
right.
in the area. And so
Oh,
there
okay.
may be a few of those because I actually thought about putting them in pots,
Hmm.
like they're growing
Ah,
out of the ground.
yeah.
So,
Oh, I love that. I love that. I mean, yeah, and Halloween's a great time for
mhm.
being able to do things like that, and then people don't look weird at you. I mean, if you do it in the middle of like February or March, people are going to be like, "What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this?" But you know, even if
Yeah.
you want to do it in February, March, just say, "Oh, it's for Halloween."
Hmm.
Perfect. We're covered. We got you covered. So, so what else you got coming up? What else you got coming up? I know that October is a big month for you.
It is. It is. We have the book launch coming out.
Mhm.
Both the Kindle and the print version will be coming out later this summer. I'm super excited to be a part of that. I have my chapter included in the book,
Mhm.
and my co-authors are absolutely fantastic people, and I cannot wait to read their chapters as well. And then in October, we get to speak about our experiences that have led us to the point where we're speaking on stage. And I'm pretty excited about that as well.
Yeah, right, folks. And if you don't know, it's Behind the Power. It is a 3 day. I would use the word experience because I've attended now 2 years in a row down in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know the specific dates off the top of my head. I know it's right around the 18th of the month. Might be 18th, 19th, and 20th, but don't hold me to that. I can give you the information next week. But it's 3 days down in Atlanta. It's a wonderful group of people, and like Lucinda said, I'm part of that as well. Not only did we write a chapter for a book that hopefully will get pushed into bestseller status like it did last year, but also speak on stage about our experiences. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And you're going to be doing amazing, Lucinda. So don't you worry about
Thank you. Same for you, John. You're going to
that.
be acing it. No
Yeah.
worries.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see your how you're not really looking forward to. I've been very impressed with how you have been taking these leaps and bounds and getting out of your comfort zone, not only in your personal life but also on your artistic side. I think you reaching out to work with the United Kingdom in that particular program for your intuitive abilities is a big step for you.
It was very scary, but I didn't have any choice but to just lean in and go for it. I mean, that's all you can do, right?
Right, exactly.
You can't let it. I couldn't let it pass me by. It was an option to learn, and yeah, probably just to learn. I think is the most because you can always learn from someone else
Oh,
on what they're
absolutely.
doing. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I enjoy doing this program because I've learned something from everybody I've talked to so far, because it never ends. Learning never ends. And I think when you talk about things, not only do you learn about the people you're talking to, but then sometimes it generates the ideas,
hmm
the tarot card idea, having your own set, I think is a cool idea.
I had not thought about the dog part until you asked me, and at first I was going to say, no, no, I'm not, and I went, oh yes, dogs.
See,
That would be amazing. Each
spark of
breed
idea.
could have its own suit.
Yeah, and hopefully somebody out there that's watching either live tonight or on the replay, even if it's not that, spark that idea that, between the Barbie dolls and cigar glass and the tarot business and the dog, I mean, there's just so many really cool things that could come out of that. So, you know,
Absolutely. And
it,
I'm
it,
open to however the universe wants to combine it up for me. I'm
yeah.
good with that. And they can reach me through my Facebook page if anyone wants to know any more or has questions. My link tree is in my profile there on Facebook, and that will take you to all the socials. Buy me a taco.
I saw that. Yeah.
Donate money for gas for me to help do transports for rescues and sanctuaries.
That's
Any
cool.
of those things.
Yeah.
So, or we can just chat. You can just schedule something to chat. Always reach out to me on Messenger or direct message as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you for that. So we got about 5 minutes left. Is there anything that I didn't talk about that you want to bring up tonight?
Well, I recently discovered that there is another art. Um, I'm not absolutely sure that I'm going to be proficient at it, but I am learning and I'm enjoying the learning process, and that is to be a server in a restaurant.
Oh,
and there is an art to that. I'm working with some pretty amazing people at this new restaurant in town, and it's my first time doing more than handing food across a counter to folks, which there's a lot that goes on in a restaurant behind the scenes before you get your first drink at your table that I had no idea was happening. So
I thought it was as easy as saying, "Hey, could I have a ginger ale?" Sure.
there's actually 7 steps to successful serving.
Really?
Yes, and I did not know that until I took the job, but I really am enjoying it. I like the social aspect of it. So,
well, let me ask you this then. You know, you've started down that path as another business line. You have multiple business lines. I love that.
I'm a Gemini.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, because to be restricted to one thing can be debilitating sometimes too, right? Have you ever, or have you yet, because you are a highly intuitive and sensitive person, ever had that come into play? Like maybe you're serving, and I mean, do you ever?
I have had that come into play, but not
Yeah.
necessarily in that as of yet. But when I worked in the tourist industry, there were a lot of times I would know things about people. It was mainly about their health.
Oh, okay.
More than anything else, and I don't know if that is because I didn't really want to know who was hanging around Aunt Betty that was coming in to see our tourist place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if I see 20,000 people a year, that's a lot of Aunt Betty's dead people coming in.
Yeah.
That I didn't really want.
Yeah, right.
So, but mainly I got their health. Like, I'm going to keep an eye on this lady while she's out here because she's not doing too hot, and things like that. And I've had thoughts of what is going through people's minds as they're not paying attention on the expressway.
Really?
Which is kind of weird. But it wasn't until I decided that I wasn't going to be angry about drivers on the road, that I was going to be open, that they could have something going on.
Right.
That I started hearing that. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, that is kind of neat. And that whole idea of deciding not to be angry on the road, I started doing that probably 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, because I used to drive back and forth to Boston all the time, and ask anybody. It was horrible experience for me. But lately I've taken that other approach where somebody cuts you off. My first thought isn't to beat the horn necessarily, unless it's dangerous, right? But rather, say something like, he's got to get home because he's got to feed the dog, or he left the stove on or something. And believe it or not, that can really disarm that anger feeling that you have. I don't have the luxury, unfortunately, of knowing what they're thinking, which would be kind of cool. Just saying.
Yeah, but you get the good and the bad that time.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
you get the guy that's driving in the fast lane at 35 because he's thinking about going home to an empty house because he lost his wife, or something like that.
Yeah.
That effect too. So you get both.
Yeah, you get both.
Yeah,
but still, that's cool. I don't know if I've ever talked to anybody that has said that that's something that has happened to them. So that's pretty unique as far as I'm concerned. But maybe it happens more often than I think. Who knows?
Maybe. I've never talked to anyone about it other than sharing it here. So
yeah. Well, if anybody watches this later on down the road and they can reflect or see themselves in this situation, I'd love to hear about it. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Me too.
So, all right. Well, it looks like our 30 minutes has gone by extremely fast, which I figured it would, Lucinda. Talking to you is always a pleasure. And you're such an interesting person. You're doing all these really cool things. So hopefully you keep doing them and you keep adding. And I can just imagine, I mean, I'm not intuitive, although people have said everybody's intuitive. But I see you doing some really, really cool things down the road. You're doing great things now, but I think they're just going to get so much better for you.
Thank you, John. I hope so. And I'm really excited to have been on your show for a second time, and maybe we'll plan a third.
You're welcome back at any time. And Beth says, so fun. You are both amazing. Thank you, Beth. You are as well. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go for this evening. Next week, I've got my niece, Anya. She's going to be on the show. She is a graduate of Johnson & Wales Culinary School in Rhode Island. And I hope we're going to be talking about cakes and cake decorating, because I'll be honest, I like cakes, not the decorating, the eating them part. So tune in next Tuesday, and we'll talk to Anya. So Lucinda, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too.
All right, if you could just hang on for a sec. All right, see you guys. Thank you so very much for joining me on the Art Talk podcast, where it's my goal to bring artists together to talk about their craft. If you'd like to join me for a conversation, please reach out via email at johncoleartist@gmail.com or by visiting my website at johnrobertcole.com. So until next time, keep crafting, painting, and inspiring others with your creativity. You make more of an impact than you know.